The Kellogg School of Management and/or Northwestern University in no way endorse this video. The Kellogg School of Management dates back over 100 years to its establishment in 1908 as a part-time program in downtown Chicago called Northwestern University School of Commerce. The early school helped pioneer the modern MBA, contributing in many fields and in helping develop the GMAT. Kellogg's current location in Evanston, Illinois, on the shore of Lake Michigan, is truly beautiful and is enmeshed in the great research university that is Northwestern. Evanston is at once a chartered city and a township and has the feel of both, with some big city amenities but retaining a small town feel. Kellogg has consistently been placed in the top tier of business school rankings for decades, and that trend has not changed. Recently, Business Week placed it as the third top school in the country, the U.S. News & World Report placed it as the fourth top school, Forbes placed it at number 10, and the Wall Street Journal at number 12. In the international press, The Economist ranked Kellogg number 15 worldwide, while the Financial Times ranked it as 22nd. Although Kellogg is strong in many fields, it consistently ranks at the top of the pack in marketing and near the top for nonprofit management. With full-time MBA enrollment of just over 1,000 and a part-time enrollment of approximately 1,300, Kellogg is a fairly large program. This size has allowed the school to add over 50 new courses since 1995 and also allows it to maintain relationships with many overseas schools, including schools located in India, China, Thailand, France, Germany, and Israel. Let's meet some students.
My name is Andre Davis. I'm a first year here at Kellogg, and one of the main reasons I came to Kellogg was definitely for the culture. Very interactive with the faculty as well as the students, very collaborative culture. And my background coming from I was an officer in the Army, and after that I worked in pharmaceutical sales for quite some time. So I really felt the culture of Kellogg, which is a good match for what I was looking for, getting back into management, and just felt like it was the best opportunity for me.
Hi, my name is Vamsi Adlapati. I'm a current student here at Kellogg. Just started, I'm a first year in the 2-year program here.
Hi, my name is Devika Gupta. I'm a second year at Kellogg School of Management, part of Northwestern. My background was in high tech. I was working in operations, product marketing in the Bay Area. Originally, I'm from New Jersey.
My name is Amish Gupta. I'm from Texas, Dallas, and I worked before school. I worked at P&G in marketing, and I worked also in a small real estate firm. Joined Kellogg. I'm a second-year student. Came here for the strong departments that they have in marketing and in finance, and also for the location in Chicago.
Why are you wearing a suit?
I had an interview this morning, so hopefully I'll get a call back. This is probably the peak of our interview season, so you'll see a lot of students with suits today in the next few weeks.
What do you perceive as the value of an MBA? Why do you want an MBA?
I feel the value of an MBA is more or less, I look at it as just like I felt the West Point was training for the Army. I look at my MBA as training for the business environment. So just developing those skills that I haven't had a chance to develop so far, as far as negotiations or on the different marketing skills that I may need to develop to have a successful corporate career. I think that's the main reason I'm going back for my MBA.
What initially drew me here to Kellogg was it was a nice chance after working in the real world for about 5 years to take a break and kind of pull everything together that I had seen out there and get a better perspective on going back.
I think there's 3 things that you can get out of an MBA. One is the actual knowledge that you have, so things that you're lacking. I have a marketing background and I need to come back and get some finance and accounting. So you can kind of round out your skill set, number 1. Number 2, the networking that you can actually get at school is great. So you walk out of school with 100 new friends from that's going to go into 100 different industries, and you can always call upon them if it's just for advice, if it's going to be a business deal in the future, whatever it may be. But that's a very valuable thing to hold on to. And the third thing is, quite honestly, just 2 years of taking off of work. It's a kind of a break from your normal life that you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. Most MBA students are going to be working pretty hard coming out of school and until they retire pretty much. So this is a nice break for them.
It's valuable in different ways. Professionally, it's really, you don't get another opportunity to explore all the different careers, like talk to people from different companies and really figure out what it is you want to do. Personally, I think I've really grown as a person just in the past year and a half. Figure out just what you're comfortable with, what you want from your life. Meet all these different people from all over the world. Like Kellogg is 30% international. and make friends and really explore, expand your whole social circle and explore just different types of cultures and meet people from all over the country. Even if you're staying in the US, I know I'm going to have friends all over when I graduate.
Why did you choose Kellogg?
I'm originally from the Chicago area, so it was a nice chance to come back and be close to friends and family. But you know, that was for me that was it was a little different motivation than most people. But you know, obviously the Kellogg has a great name. The people here are phenomenal, and I can't emphasize that enough. So that was certainly another plus that drew me here.
Kellogg is a great place because it's a big school. First of all, it has a lot of resources. The people are great. I mean, the culture is really friendly. I've definitely found it a comfortable place to explore new career options and really figure out what I wanted to do. I'm exploring marketing, a little bit of consulting, healthcare. It's really your 2 years to decide what you want to do and take advantage of everything the school has to offer. Kellogg is obviously known as a marketing school, but it has a lot of diverse students and interests: finance, banking, consulting. People are all over the place, and I just think it's a great 2 years to explore all your different interests.
How much freedom do you have in choosing your courses?
Yeah, well, the first semester everything's already drawn out for you. You have 4 classes that are pretty much given to you depending on your experience in the work world and what kind of undergrad experience you had. You have the opportunity to waive out of classes, but they'll just put you in a higher core class. But the first quarter is all set, but the following 2 quarters of this year and all 3 quarters of your second year, you're pretty much free to take whatever you need.
How would you describe the social life of the school?
I guess I shouldn't say it's a 24-hour job, but when I say that, it counts everything. You know, there's a lot of social stuff, and you know that's really what makes the experience here memorable. And everybody takes part in something, whether it's a leadership position, whether it's just playing flag football like I did this morning, or just joining joining Special K, which is a big concert that we put on every year. It's a big performance like play and musical. So there's so many different interests. There's so many different clubs here. There's so many different outings that people take on the weekends. You're going to be around these people 24 hours a day, and going back to what I mentioned, the people here are phenomenal, and that's important. It's important to look for, because you're going to be around these people 24 hours a day. So,
how heavy would you say the workload is?
Much more intense than I thought it was going to be. It's almost a 24-hour job. Even if you aren't trying to hit straight A's, you're going to be here. With all the group projects that go on, especially Kellogg in particular is known for its group efforts, and pretty much every assignment here is done in some sort of group format, and which entails you sitting there sometimes for longer than you need to be.
A lot of opportunities to know the classmates definitely has been pretty brutal. I say, as far as people think Kellogg may be on the very social side, it is true to an extent, but as far as academics, it's very intensive. But as far as for me, being married and being a student is a little different for me as far as all the social activities. But I do find time to interact with my classmates, but definitely a lot of late night studying as well. So very tough curriculum.
The workload is a little different. I think first years take their workload, for lack of a better word, more seriously. They're just coming back to school. Second year students are a little bit more adjusted. They know how to handle the different pressures that are in school. Nonetheless, the workload just goes beyond the classroom. So you're involved in classes, you're involved in clubs, you have social activities, and you have recruiting to deal with on top of that. So you can literally spend your days 8 a.m. till midnight, 5 days a week, 6 days a week easily. Your first year is just a lot of adjusting and prioritizing and how to manage it. Your second year, you should kind of realize how to manage those times. So although your workload may be just as high, you're just a little bit more adjusted to it. It's a little easier to handle.
You're located 20 minutes away from Chicago. How does that play into the life of the school?
You have everything every city has. You have Broadway shows, musicals, you have all the sports teams. Yeah, you have the Chicago Bears, the greatest football team out there. You have so much to do there. There's a great nightlife. But at the same time, the nice thing about Evanston is you have a lot of those things. You have great restaurants right here. You have a pretty good nightlife. I know it's only 4 or 5 bars, but everybody's there that you know, and it's a good time. So yeah, and then if you get tired of that scene, you hop on the L for 20 minutes, and you're in a whole different world.
I actually really like it. I'm totally a city person, so it's definitely lived up to my expectations. First year, honestly, we didn't explore that much. We're just so busy with everything, recruiting, business school life. This year we're getting downtown a lot more, and there's a lot of young people around. You know, you have Northwestern, you have University of Chicago, you have the hangouts like Wrigleyville with all the sports bars. It's just a fun place, and it's got a very friendly mix of, you know, Midwestern people and then people from New York and the business schools, so it's good.
For me, it's actually pretty easy. I live in Chicago, so I make the trek up here every day instead of living in Evanston, just more or less due to the fact that I'm married. And I think it's a great opportunity, being so close to Chicago for the students in general, just access to all the the corporations there in Chicago, and we do get a lot of speakers here daily. There's 3 or 4 or 5 companies here every day, so definitely great opportunity being in Chicago.
I love Chicago City. It's kind of the huge city atmosphere, the downtown, the hustle bustle, but it doesn't have, you're not overwhelmed by a city like you are in New York. And on top of that, you still have the Midwestern kind mentality. So it's been great. It offers everything that I could imagine. It has, you know, Lake Michigan's right there too, so you can go sailing, you can go kayaking. So it's a very pretty active city, and a great young population here.
I noticed that you have a beach here. Does it get much use?
You know, the beach that's half a block away, it's absolutely great. Of course, in the wintertime, we don't get to take advantage of it. But I was here for the summer and for the spring and part of the fall. You really get to take advantage of that. You can take off class from the beach, you know, pretty easily. Take a quick swim. Alternatively, on the weekends, you know, if you have extra time, you go sunbathing. It's just really convenient to have it right next door. It's a lot of fun. Just adds to the one extra element of school that a lot of other schools don't have.
They do in the summer, which it kind of sucks for business school because most people aren't here in the summer. In the fall, I go running by the beach a lot, and it's just really beautiful with the lake. So right now, yeah, it's cold, but I mean, it's there. It's nice to look at. The campus has a lot of the beach and the lake mixed in, so even as a business school student, you do get to enjoy the other parts of the campus.
What do you like or dislike about Evanston?
Evanston is a very cool town, and I think it's getting better as well. The reason Evanston's so good, especially from an MBA standpoint, from a Kellogg standpoint, is that it's a smaller community outside of Kellogg, so during the weekdays you don't have the opportunity to go down to the city as much. But having said that, there's only 3 or 4 places or 5 places that people go out to here, so we don't have classes on Wednesdays, so Tuesdays are usually a pretty big night for people out. And you don't have to make plans. You can just show up to one of these 3 places, and you're pretty much guaranteed to see somebody that you know, bump into somebody. Really awesome. You get that tight-knit community feel. But you get the advantages of both worlds. So if you do want to go to the city, it's only a train ride away. So you can take this, you know, you take the train in, you take the train out, it runs late. So if you're kind of sick of Evanston, you can very easily go downtown. You have the museums downtown, you have tons of restaurants downtown, you know, ball games, all the comedy clubs and blues bars that Chicago has to offer. You really get a good wide variety of experiences.
Yeah, we actually hang out a lot in Evanston just because Chicago is like half an hour away. It's easier to just go to the local bars. It's great, you get to walk everywhere. Evanston's actually really cute. It's not the cheapest place to live, so you know, expect to have that cost of living increase just because you're outside Chicago too, but it's fun. I like it. I think Evanston in general is pretty expensive compared to a lot of, you think college town is going to be cheap. It's not. Like I was living in the Bay Area before and I'm paying the same amount, which was really surprising for me. But I guess I'm saving money in terms of gas because I'm not driving my car, so it's a trade-off.
Can you describe the student-faculty relationship?
The teachers are very accessible, very open, willing to help any student and make sure that everyone succeeds. So definitely one of the main reasons I chose Kellogg was when I was interviewing, a lot of the faculty came up to me, introduced themselves, and told me how they actually help the students get through the courses at Kellogg. So they're definitely very hands-on, very interactive, and make the experience a lot more pleasurable. So very good.
The faculty is great. They definitely try to be out there for the students, so they'll set up lunches, they'll have different seminars going on beyond just the classes. There's always room for improvement in terms of interaction with the faculty. You know, they don't come to our social events as much, we have to reach out to them more. But in general, they're very supportive. They obviously want Kellogg to be the best, and that means they have to be available for the students, so they try.
Has Kellogg met or exceeded your expectations?
It's definitely exceeded my expectations. This is my first time in the Midwest, so I was a little concerned about, not having a diverse population, but there's actually people, like I said, from all over the country. And people are just nice and they're friendly, and it's definitely a lot more collaborative, I would say, than some of the other schools I explored. When I was applying, it's a very friendly culture. The clubs definitely help you figure out what you want in terms of jobs, and people are out to help you. And it's a very teamwork-based culture, which I'm sure you've heard before about Kellogg.
Kellogg's actually exceeded my expectations. The students here have been just absolutely amazing in terms of how intelligent they are, the experiences that they've had. I've had, friends that have sailed around the world, that are captain in the wars, that worked at amazing finance and marketing projects, and so the experiences that you have is just unbelievable. The professors have experiences in the real world that can really bring your classroom to life. And the last thing is just, again, going back to the students, is the student body at school has been just been absolutely excellent in terms of the friendships that you build, the kindness and the team building attitude. It's just absolutely amazing.
Where do people tend to end up geographically after school? Do people tend to stay in Chicago?
I think it's pretty varied, actually. I think there's a strong contingent that want to stay in the Chicago area and kind of the Midwest. There's definitely focal points on the coast, in particular San Francisco, New York, Boston. There's definitely large groups of people that want to end up in each one of those locations. So I think it really depends on originally where people are from. People from the Midwest tend to stick to the Midwest. People from the coast tend to go to the coast. So it varies.
How well integrated would you say that international students are?
There's tons of group work involved at our school, and you're assigned groups in most of your classes, especially when you start out. So you have international students in each one of those groups. So I've had groups of people from London, from France, from China, from India, from South America, so all over the world. And you get pretty well integrated with them on a social and on a work standpoint.
Is entrepreneurship a focus at Kellogg?
It is. It's growing. We have an entrepreneurship department. It's called the Levy Institute, and most professors will say right out of business school it's not good to start your own company just because they want you to get the work experience, but there's definitely a lot of people, students who are interested in entrepreneurship. So I think the biggest asset coming out of Kellogg would be your network. Even if you don't set up your business right afterwards, you have the skills and then you have the contacts to do that in the future.
Do you need a car to live and go to school here?
Do I need a car? No. I have a car. I use it maybe once a week to go get groceries, and there's a grocery store at walking distance as well, so I definitely don't need a car.
No, actually a car is more of a problem than a convenience because parking is really limited. So I have a car, but the good thing is I don't use it, so I get a lot of exercise. The bad thing is when it's 30 degrees, that's when you need the puffy coat because you're going to be walking around a lot. But it's actually nice. You get to enjoy the campus a lot. You say hi to your friends as you're walking to and from school. Every day I run into people, which you don't in your car.
No, not here, but I do. Only because my parents are here, and I drive home. See them every now and then. But Chicago's so close. The L's right here. It's a 20-minute, 30-minute ride. You don't need a car.
I don't have one, so no. I don't. Public transportation is not too bad. I mean, most of your time is going to be spent around school, but as far as me even living in Chicago, there's free transportation the school provides from here to Chicago, so you really don't need it.
Just how bad are the Chicago winters?
From here originally, so I'm used to it. Lived in Boston, New York, all cold cities, so just sort of a part of a life for me.
I'm from the East Coast, so if you're from California, you're probably going to think it's really cold. You just buy a long, puffy jacket and you're going to be fine. Hang out in Chicago a lot. I mean, it's the windy city, but you've at least got the nightlife to make up for the cold.
I'm from Chicago, so I'm pretty used to it, but they're pretty bad. As long as you dress for the weather, you'll be fine, but it's pretty bad.
It's pretty tough. It's pretty tough. Get a lot of layers, tons of layers, and you stay inside as much as possible. Having said that, actually, I try to stay pretty active in the winters and not stay inside too much. I try to make it to go downtown quite a bit still. And you can manage, it's just a matter of getting used to it. So,
how much of your classwork is case versus lecture?
I would say It's probably an even split. Even the lecture courses, though, even though they're listed as a lecture, there's still some casework involved throughout the course, on whether they're implemented gradually throughout the course. So I think 100% of the classes there's going to be some sort of casework in it. But classes like accounting, for instance, not very heavily case-based, but you do go over some things that I guess could qualify as that. So.
How does Kellogg relate to the university at large?
We have listings where we can take some courses at the law school or even at some of the undergraduate institutions as well. So it's pretty open, and it's very well received. And yeah, so I mean, we can take things as far as in healthcare and law and whatever the undergrads have as well. So very open and very easy to do.
I think business school in general, just by nature, you're very absorbed. I don't interact too much with the other grad students or the undergrads. Our social group or our student advisory group organizes tailgates for the football games in the fall. I have yet to go to one, but my goal before I graduate is to do one. There's definitely opportunities. It's up to you to take advantage of them. I think most business school students are so wrapped up in Kellogg world, which good or bad. You don't get a lot of time to do all the other stuff, but if you want to, it's there.
How do you like the building and facilities?
Everything is it's very nice, actually. They're doing a lot of renovations, so a lot of the things within the school is very new right now. And as far as like extracurricular activities, I think maybe 5 or 6 gyms in the area. So there's a lot to do. I think everything's very accessible as far as inside of the school. Everywhere there's open wireless internet access, so it makes it very convenient when doing your coursework and meeting with your classmates, and even in the on-campus housing, everything's wired. So the facilities are really nice, definitely.
I like the building. It's the food options could always be improved, but it's a nice building. You have the atrium with all the sunlight. You sit and check your emails, talk to people. It's a good place to hang out.
How big is the class size, and how does the administration break it up?
The size is roughly 550, I want to say, and we're broken down into sections. Can't tell you off the top of my head how many sections there is, but it's rough. Well, I guess I can actually. Probably 6 sections, I think. I think it's 6 or 7 sections. So they do break us down, and it's a great bonding experience. When you first enroll in school, your first summer, the first 2 weeks, you're going through Sim Week, which is complete immersion in management, and you get a chance to meet all the people in your section. Good bonding experience, do a lot of coursework, but as well as a lot of bonding activities. So it's a great chance to get to know your section, and after that you interact with the rest of the sections as well, so it's a good opportunity.
How have you found your fellow students?
They're very smart people. I mean, I've always tried to challenge myself in terms of undergrad and grad school, and Kellogg definitely meets my expectations. Very smart people, very motivated. Even if you don't know exactly what you're going to do with your career, people are very committed to figuring that out, and like I said, being supportive of your fellow students.
Can you talk about your experience with reference to the recruiting process?
The recruiting process overall, from a student's perspective, is pretty stressful. They're juggling a lot of different things that they're interested in. So one may be in industry. So, you know, am I interested in consulting, or do I want to go into a general management position? Where do I want to live? My girlfriend's on the West Coast, but I don't want to live there. And excuse me. There's a lot of different factors that go into the recruiting process. And then on top of that, there's the stress of actual interviewing, and you know, even if you're not that interested in a job, you know, hopefully you get a call back. Nobody ever wants to be rejected. So those stresses are always going on. From a recruiter's perspective, the process has actually been pretty good. The process is relatively smooth as it can be, but there's just you have to be focused as a student about what jobs you want to interview for, what locations you're looking for. Otherwise, you can just end up in a tailspin interviewing with 30 different companies, and you're just completely unfocused.
Recruiting has been good. It's challenging. I won't say it's easy. There's always a lot of competition, but recruiters love coming here and meeting the students, and I think that's the best way to learn about the company. I really enjoyed the whole process of talking to different recruiters. They always say Kellogg students are great at teamwork. That's definitely our attractive quality there, but in general, I think they're looking for good people, and we have a lot of options in terms of companies, but they also go to a lot of schools, so just a question of figuring out which companies you like, and if they like you and it's a fit, then it's great.
What type of person might not be happy here?
Wouldn't be happy here? Someone that's not a team player, someone that doesn't like working well with others. Even some classes that I thought maybe was all individual, like finance courses, accounting, everything is group work. So, well, I shouldn't say all group work, but it's definitely 50% or more group work. So if you're not a good team player, don't like working with individuals, then probably not the place to be.
I think people that are just in it to get the badge on your resume, just trying to look for the next job, it's not really it's not really made for those type of people. I mean, you're here to have a good time, and the people that are going to have a good time are those that kind of try 100 different things, not the guys that are just sitting there trying to get straight A's and trying to get that stamp on their resume.
Anyone who's, I think, has a very intense outlook on what they want from business school, meaning more focused on academics. I think the social aspect is a huge reason to come to Kellogg. You're meeting all these great people, so if you're not going to be able to take advantage of that, you might be better off somewhere else. But most people find that they do love the social aspect as much as the academic. So
I would say 80% of the work that you do here is in groups, so you have to be comfortable with people. I guess that's the best way to describe it. People who aren't comfortable with people would not like this school, because you work in groups all the time. You have a lot of social outings as well, and the social outings can be very professional as well. The presentations on a day-to-day basis that our companies are giving, and you have to meet recruiters if you want to get a job. So I think that's the main criteria if you really want to come to school. You've got to be able to be comfortable with people. You got to be willing to meet people from all over the world at different perspectives and be able to deal with them on a social perspective and on a work perspective.
What advice do you have for prospective MBA students looking at MBA programs in general, and Kellogg in particular?
General advice, I would say definitely visit all the schools you're definitely serious about applying to, learn a lot about the culture, interact with the students, gives you a great idea of the culture of the university, whether it's very collaborative or sort of cutthroat or whatever the case may be. I think definitely doing the legwork there and interviewing with as many people as you can, whether it's faculty or students, and just get an overall general feel of the university as well as the general area. See if it's something that you can see yourself being in for 2 years.
Definitely explore. Apply to more schools than less, just because there are differences between the schools, and you don't really know that until you talk to the people, go to their welcome weekends when you're admitted, and really figure out, they talk about fit a lot. I think it is important. Where do you fit in? Where do you feel comfortable? Think about location, and an East Coast school is going to get more companies from the East Coast just because it's easier, and same for the West Coast. That way I think the Midwest is good. We get a lot of both East and West Coast, but think about where you want to be after. Just try to meet as many people as you can, I think, is the best way to figure out where you fit in.
You obviously visit as many schools as possible. You don't want to constrain yourself to just 1 or 2 schools, and obviously just be unhappy because you fell back and you're going to a school that you didn't particularly want. Go see as many schools, go talk to as many people as possible, talk to the current people who are here. They give you great perspective. The people I talked to gave me a phenomenal idea of what to expect, how this is actually going to help me later on, and more importantly, whether this is right for me. So kind of used everybody's advice I could, talk to alumni. That's certainly what I'd advise people.
First, if you're looking to go into school, is determine if you're willing to take 2 years off of work and see if you're really going to get a value add off of it. So for example, if you're going to remain in banking and you have a very specific role and you want to stay with that role, it may not be, you don't necessarily need a huge skill set or rounded skill set. The second thing is, if you're definitely set to go back to school, limit the options, the number of schools you can apply to. Applying is it's very tedious. So limit it by the locations that you want to be in and the schools that you want to go to. I applied to 4 schools and it just made my life, that was pretty tough in itself, but it made my life a lot easier. At least I was focused on just 4. I knew people that applied to a lot more. And then for Kellogg in particular, if you're looking at Kellogg, my advice is come visit the school, talk to students, see if this is a good fit for you, number one, before you apply. If you feel it is a good fit for you, then take a look at the application ahead of time. You start thinking about it. I think I looked at the application probably a good month before I actually even started working on it. And just the applications tend to be very introspective, so you get a chance to actually think about it, just internalize it before you actually write some thoughts down.
Do you feel that you made the right decision?
Absolutely, definitely made the right decision.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm having a great time. I'm tired, but I'm having a great time. Tired from having fun.
I love Kellogg. I would definitely recommend it to anyone who's interested in a very broad general education. You meet a lot of people. Come visit the campus, see how you like the building. Chicago's great, and then choose the place that's best for you.